Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and these are the iPhone 17 models. This is every new color expected from Apple later this year when they launch the iPhone 17. Some of the shades may be off slightly, but these are designed to give you an idea of what we could see as far as the overall models from the iPhone 17, iPhone 17 Air, iPhone 17 Pro, and iPhone 17 Pro Max. So just keep in mind these are non-functioning dummy units, but they do give us an idea and usually are pretty accurate compared to what Apple finally releases. But again, some of the shades may be off a little bit. And speaking of when Apple releases these, based on what we're seeing so far, current information suggests that we could see the event on September 9th. So based off information that a site in Germany has that saw some internal carrier documents, they're saying that the event should be on the 9th. If that's the case, typically Apple will then have pre-orders available on the 12th, and then a week later, usually on the following Friday, they release to the public where you can go to the store and buy them or pick up your pre-order. So that's what we expect as far as that goes. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the overall models themselves and take a look at all the colors, starting with the iPhone 17. Now with the iPhone 17 models, these are the most familiar this year. We'll have white, black, purple or lavender, green, and light blue. So these different colors are very similar to what we had last year. They may be off a shade or two, but you can see here's an iPhone 16 next to maybe the new color here for the iPhone 17. So it gives you an idea of what they'll look like. As far as the outside, they're mostly the same, so you'll see that we'll have a power sleep wake button, we'll have our capture button on the side, on the top they'll be mostly the same. Now some of the antenna lines maybe could change, but they seem to be the same here on the dummy units. And then on the side here, you can see that we'll have our action button, we'll also have volume up and volume down. On the bottom we'll have USB-C of course, so with the new one on the right here, the older one on the left, you'll see it's mostly the same. USB-C, maybe faster transfer speeds, but other than that, we'll have our microphone as well as our speakers. So pretty familiar as far as that goes. It will still be made out of aluminum, but then we'll have a larger display at 6.3 inches or 6.27 inches, so slightly larger here, and possibly ProMotion. We could have 25-watt MagSafe charging on all the devices, and this would be because it's complying to the Qi 2.2 standards. Also, we'll have, of course, that capture button. There was some rumor of an additional button on some of the other models. And then we'll have an A19 chipset, hopefully some thermal improvements, 8 gigabytes of RAM, similar cameras, but a 24-megapixel front-facing camera. Also possible is a 5G modem from Apple, as well as maybe a Wi-Fi modem, and then the battery is expected to be around 3,600 milliamp hours. So as far as all of that goes, not a huge upgrade for the regular iPhone 17, but just some nice color options here as well. So these are pretty nice. Out of these, I would probably opt for the blue, but let me know what you think. Now let's move on to the replacement for the iPhone 17 Plus. So last year we had the iPhone 16 Plus in some very vibrant colors that looked pretty great. This time around, Apple is replacing the iPhone 17 Plus with an iPhone 17 Air. They may not call it that, we don't really know, but you can see the 4 different color options here, where we'll have a white or silver, black, maybe a gold, as well as a light blue. So this is what we can expect as far as the colors go, and as far as the way the overall design is, it's super thin at about 5.5 millimeters. We'll have a power sleep wake button. We'll also have a capture button or a camera control button here. On the bottom, we expect USB-C along with a speaker and microphone. And then on the left-hand side, we'll have our action button along with our volume buttons as well. On the front, we do expect that 24-megapixel camera here, as well as a 6.6-inch display, possibly again with ProMotion. On the back, it will have a single 48-megapixel camera along with an odd camera bar here. This sort of matches what we have with liquid glass on the latest version of iOS 26, so you can see some of that here with maybe some of the controls in the control center, so that gives you an idea maybe that it's matching that, which is a little bit odd as far as the corner radius here on the corners. It's not something that I am really used to at this point. I'm not sure how I feel about it as far as the way it looks. However, we do expect possibly an Apple 5G modem here, along with an A19 chip, but 12 gigabytes of RAM. Again, we'll have a small battery this time around, and we've talked about this before, where the battery could be as little as maybe 2,800 milliamp hour. We don't really know at this point, But if it's anything compared to what Samsung has with the S25 Edge, that actually has pretty good battery life. So I'm curious to see if this is going to have anything near that. But this gives you an idea of the colors, the new colors here with the gold, and what we can expect as far as the Air. Now, I do plan to use this phone maybe as my main phone using the S25 Edge. There's something about just holding on to this that makes it feel really different and something unique. I'll have to, of course, see the real ones once they launch, but this gives you an idea of what to expect as far as the look of them and the color. One other thing worth mentioning about the iPhone 17 Air is the overall frame or chassis is expected to be made out of titanium. So similar to what we have currently with the iPhone 16 Pro and 16 Pro Max, it would help with rigidity, or again, similar to the S25 Ultra. They don't seem to bend very easily, and that would help with overall strength, trying to bend it if you sat on it, and it would prevent things such as the iPhone 6 bend gate, something along those lines. So I think that makes a lot of sense. However, that won't be the case for the iPhone 17 Pro models, it seems. Now, with the iPhone 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max, we expect this year for them to be built out of aluminum or aluminium. Apple is doing away with titanium, maybe for a couple reasons, to bring more vibrant colors possibly, but also possibly for additional thermal management, getting rid of heat. It may help with that. So we don't know the exact reason, but it does seem they're getting rid of it. The overall look, of course, is very polarizing. Many people are having strong opinions about these, as some of these have leaked online already. And you can see the odd camera bar here. And one thing that strikes me very odd, and I'm not sure if this could be real, is the placement of the Apple logo is very low on the phone. It's possible that's where it is due to MagSafe being a little bit lower down, but there has to be a reason for this camera bar. We just don't know what it is yet. But like I mentioned, it should be built out of aluminum, and you'll see, of course, we have the 4 colors here. Before we take a look at the outside edge, we'll have a blue, we'll have an orange this time around, it seems, as well as a black and white, or silver as Apple typically calls it. If we take a look at the outside edge, of course, we have our power sleep wake button. We also have camera control here. On the bottom, we'll have USB-C with a speaker and microphone. On the left-hand side, we'll have a SIM card tray outside of the United States. Everywhere else typically gets a SIM card tray, and I would really wish Apple would bring that back to the United States. We also have volume buttons as well as an action button. On the top, there's not really anything here other than a little antenna line. And then, of course, we've got our cameras with this camera bar. Now, hopefully there's a big reason for this, but this is a bit odd to have this huge camera bar. It doesn't even help when it's on the table, as it still wobbles. So if you push on it, it wobbles. It doesn't help with that at all. So maybe there's a reason for this, making more space for a different camera. But either way, we do expect 3 48 megapixel cameras this time around. So even the telephoto zoom lens is expected to be a larger camera, or at least a larger sensor, with possibly an 8 times telephoto zoom lens. We don't know that 100%, but we could have 8K video possible, and all of the phones this time around are expected to get that 24 megapixel front-facing camera like I mentioned in the other models that we have here. So we can expect that, and then maybe a new camera recording mode where we can record out of the back camera and the front camera at the same time with the new A19 Pro chipset that's expected to be in this device. We also expect 12 gigs of RAM, and then similar display sizes at around 6.9 inches or so, and possibly some updates to the dynamic island. But we expect it mostly to be the same as far as that goes. We do expect updated thermals, so hopefully it gets rid of heat better. Again, that could be part of the aluminum here. And then maybe Apple-designed Wi-Fi 7 modems, and then similar or maybe even larger batteries. The iPhone 17 Pro is said to come in around 3,700 milliamp hours, where the iPhone 17 Pro Max is expected around 4,700 milliamp hours. We don't have the exact numbers, of course, till they're released, but we can expect something along those lines. As far as the overall size, well, the 17 Pro Max is definitely very large. Compared side by side here, you can see with the iPhone 16 Pro Max, it's very similar, but ever so slightly thicker, it seems, and maybe a little bit wider based off of this, at least the way it feels, maybe 0.5 millimeter wider or so, but you can see the overall size here. So thickness side by the real iPhone 16 Pro Max on the left, the overall camera bump and bar sticks out about the same. When it comes to the regular Pro models, let's compare that as well. So again, we'll take this one, the Desert Titanium one, side by side. Again, maybe slightly larger, but very similar size here. So 6.3 inch display is what's expected here. Again, ProMotion. Maybe we'll have brighter displays this year. We don't really know, but that's what you can expect as far as the look of them. As far as the color, well, in this video, I did try to make this as color accurate as possible, so hopefully this gives you a good idea of what they look like. But as far as if you should wait and maybe pick up an iPhone 17, or if you're not happy with these, you could pick up an iPhone 16 now. However, once Apple does announce these, the iPhone 16s will drop in price. So if you were thinking of maybe picking one up, I might wait maybe a month or so unless you could get it free through a carrier. One other reason they may be switching to aluminum is the outside frame matches the body more closely, so you can see that here. We also could see an anti-reflective display similar to what the S25 Ultra has, which I would definitely welcome. It would help with reflectivity and maybe have more scratch resistance as well. So we'll have to wait and see if they do that. I really hope they do. But overall, that gives you an idea of what the colors are. And again, on the black and silver models, you can see that the frame, again, looks similar to what it does today. So overall, this is what we can expect as far as the colors. So those are all the colors we expect for this year's iPhones. Let me know which one you like the best. If you're going to maybe go with the iPhone 17 Air, will you be picking up a Pro or sticking with what you have now, whether that's an iPhone 16 or older? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.